Hi friends, it's been a couple of weeks since my last video and I apologize for that. I'm going to do my very best to get out weekly videos on either Wednesday or Thursdays of each week. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Janine and I make videos on the connection between body, soul, and spirit. If you feel connected to what I share, please like and subscribe. I'd love to have you along for the journey. Today's video is going to be a little bit different. Just with everything that's going on in the world, I wanted to make a special post today. And I can only speak from my own personal experience with regards to the racial tensions that are going on. I grew up Mexican American. I know that's not a popular way to call what I am. Now I think it's Latina. But I grew up Mexican American. My last name is Rodriguez. And looking at me, most people would not guess that I'm Mexican. But my last name, my maiden name is Rodriguez, and most people would know from that that's an Hispanic name. And as all this has been going on, and today as I was listening to someone give a message online at church, an old story came to my mind. And this is the story. When I was in 7th grade and was hanging out with a friend at the gymnasium at school, there were two of us walking together, and behind us were two boys. And one of these boys, who was in 8th grade, a lot larger than I was, called me a spick. And instinctively, without even thinking about it, I turned around and I slapped this guy who was way bigger than I was across the face. And I slapped him so hard that he fell to the ground. And as he was on the ground, I stood over him and I said to him, "Never, ever call me that again." And he never did. And I haven't told that story many times since then, but when I have told it, I've told it honestly with pride and sometimes with laughter. And today, as I was listening to a message that my spiritual father, Peter, was giving at church, I recognized for the very first time how wrong my reaction was. It was something that came from my gut. I didn't even think twice about it. I just knew that I did not want to be called what I was called. And I realize now, many, many years later, that that was not a response of love. And I also realized, as many times as I have shared that story, when I've shared that story, that I've never prayed for that guy. And I realized I'm not, in my own way, contributed to any kind of healing that needs to happen in my world where racial tension has existed. And so I was with a couple of friends watching this, actually with a friend and my husband watching this service. He is my friend too, my best friend. But I was with my friend and my husband watching the service. And after the service, I shared this with them. And I just wanted to bare my heart and wanted to ask God for forgiveness for that. And I don't know what the answers are to what is going on, but what I do know is this, is that things are being shaken right now on the earth, and that God is a God of love, and that He wants for love to abound in every way. And so in my own heart, what I'm doing is asking God to show me what it looks like to love people of all different backgrounds, of all different nationalities, of all different religions, of everyone who is other than me. And for Him to reveal in my heart ways that I might still carry prejudice. People who would speak against me, or just people who, when I watch television, I was just saying to Peter, my spiritual father, after the service, all of my life, I've watched television programs that have looked or have placed people of color in horrible situations and have presented them in ways that are not true to the nature of every human being who has a different color of skin. And it's impossible to watch all the television and all the movies that we watch and not have our brains wired in some way to think differently about people of color. And so I'm going to ask for my brain to be rewired, and I'm going to pray about that. And that is my prayer for you as well. The other thing that came to mind too was that I traveled many years ago, actually 30 years ago, with an organization called Up With People. And I won't go into what that is about, but it's basically an organization that just exists to create connection between people of different races and backgrounds and religions, and it has a really beautiful mission statement. And I traveled with this organization. We traveled to many different cities in 7 different countries in the world. We had a 2-hour musical show that we performed, and one of the songs that we performed was a song called "What Color Is God's Skin?" And as I was thinking about this video today, that song just came to my mind, and I was saddened because 30 years ago we were singing this song, and I'll post a link to that in the cards for you. But just some of the words are, "What color is God's skin? What color is God's skin? It's black, brown, it's yellow, it's red, it is white. Everyone's the same in the good Lord's sight." And then in another part of the song, there's a conversation happening between father and child, and one of the verses says, "Son, that's part of our suffering past. But the whole human family is learning at last that the thing we missed on the road we trod was walking as the daughters and the sons of God." And by talking about the suffering past, he was talking about racism. And here we are 30 years later, and it is not part of our past. It's not part of our past. And so, again, I don't have the answers, but what I do know is, for myself, I can ask God to reveal to me where my prejudices are and help me heal from them. And that's going to be my prayer for anybody who watches this video, for you to have eyes to see ways that you might carry prejudice against others, whether it's their skin color, whether it's of a different religious background, they come from a different country, they just live life differently than you somehow. I pray that God reveals those prejudices and heals those things in your heart. It's only when we take it down to the individual level like that we're going to see healing. I am tremendously saddened over what is going on in our nation. I was watching the news last night and could hardly keep my eyes on it at what I was seeing. So I pray that God will heal our land and that God will heal our hearts of those things that contribute to the systemic issues that we see in our society. I believe that God is a God of love. And I believe that the only answer to this is to find love in all that is happening in our world. Have a wonderful day.